Hey, welcome back. Tying Tuesday. My name is Brady here with AvidMax, and we are going to show you how to tie this nice little nymph, kind of a hybrid bug, the Bloody Mary. So we'll go ahead and get one started for us. And the hook that I'm using today is a Daiichi 1720. It's a wet nymph style hook, so it caters nicely to this fly. It's a 3x long nymph style hook. This can be a nice small streamer hook as well, micro streamer hook with that long shank. It is a barbed version, so pinch your barb if you want to take care of those fish out there. But starting out, we are going to weight this fly, so you can take some lead or lead-free wire, which I have some already here. And we're going to do quite a few wraps on this one. I like this to be a heavy bug. That's why I say it's kind of a hybrid, because it's a soft tackle that's weighted pretty heavily. I'm going to throw 15 to 20 wraps of this 0.015 wire on here. So coating basically the entire shank, or the majority of that shank. And then I always like to push my lead wire up into the bead. At which point we can start our thread back behind it. And so I'm using some 6/0 red from Uni. If you go smaller than this, you can always do the 8/0 if need be. But this fly, right now we're doing a size 12, which is a nice wheelhouse size. 10s and 8s can be great on this as well, but it is a good smaller fly. I tie it to represent stonefly nymphs primarily. So then we'll walk our way back. I had just a little bit of a thread dam there to keep that wire from moving, and we will add in some Biots. So that'll be our tailing material on this, some goose Biots. Just like if you were doing a prince nymph. This fly is closely related. There's a lot of similarities as the good old beadhead prince nymph, which I guess is something I forgot to mention. I do have a copper tungsten bead on here, Herl copper bead plated. This is the 1/8 size, so the 3/0 millimeter on this size 12 today in the copper. And then I got two Biots here. Went ahead and flared them away from themselves, away from each other. And I'm going to take that and measure out the shank, and I'll probably go a little short on this shank since it is such a long hook. I don't need these legs to be overly long. I think on that example that we started the video with that you saw up front, those were a little long. And I'm at it again, so let's reel that in just a little bit. There we are. So a couple of quick locking wraps, just making sure they're flared out either way there. And then we can walk over the excess, and this is a nice smoothing material for me. Helps that transition right there as we go from the thread base to the wire. Just want to keep them nice and flat, and then we can run back and up on it and sort of smooth everything out. We'll take our thread all the way up to the bead and back just to keep everything locked in place. A quick thread coating. Not a pretty one, but something to get the job done there. And then from there, I'm going to tie in our ribbing material. This is really the Bloody Mary aspect, or at least I'm assuming that it is by the fly designer, because it's that nice red floss. And this is the dark rust color. So real rich red. You can do a brighter red. You could do some fluorescent orange. Whole world of options out there in fly tying these days, so take advantage. Don't have to do it exactly how I'm doing it here. You're more than welcome to. I can promise in the right situation with the right presentation that this fly will catch fish. Yes, I did lay out the stipulations there. But a fun one to vary. You can really kind of play around with it and have a good time. So secure that in place, hang it out on the material clip out of the way, and then we'll go into our primary body material for the abdomen, which is going to be the good old Peacock hurl. You just can't beat that nice shimmery flashy Peacock hurl. And for this I want to try and find some of the longer strands if I can, but I'm also going to build a bundle of them of 4 or 5 deep. Just like so. Let's see here. Got them all grouped and bundled together. I'm gonna come in and just trim the tips a little bit so that I have them all nice and even to tie in. And then I'm gonna run this about halfway up. I do need all of the material I can get to make my way to the front on this. So I'm not gonna go the full length of the shank. You can also, if you're tying this again in larger sizes, you will have situations where you'll run out of peacock about halfway through. Say you get to this middle section right here and your peacock's at the end. Just tie it off right there, tie in some more peacock, and then run it forward. We'll see if we need to do that on this one or not. Typically I don't on the size 12. I'm gonna walk my thread forward, and I want it to be just about 1 bead's distance back here, leaving myself a little bit of working room up front with a couple of locking half hitch knots there. Then we can take all of the peacock. We want to leave the floss behind for now. That's going to be our ribbing material. And we're going to bind this up a little bit. So you like to grab at the bottom the tips, the back end tips, and just spin it up a few times. Be very careful as you do this first wrap. That's the most brittle point in tying this in. But then as we go forward, we can sort of move it along a little bit quicker. Do want to make sure to cover up all that thread underbody here. And as you can see, I am probably going to use this entire, or the majority of, that peacock. I guess I had some wiggle room there. But we'll leave it that bead distance back, capture that material, and clip out the excess. Can save a little bit of that for in just a moment here. And then we will bring our ribbing forward. At this point you have kind of a choice to make. We'll tie it up in that material clip. There we go. You can rope it up pretty good and make this fairly hidden within the peacock as you go, or you can open it up and lay it a little more flat so that the body tends to be a little more red overall. I tend to rope it a bit. I do like just that sort of open segmentation, and then as it gets to the front there, it starts to open back up a little bit naturally. I don't fight it, I just sort of let it do what it wants to do there. And then we can capture it off and clip out the excess. And now we're gonna do our soft hackle. So for this, I'm using some hen. I've seen this various ways, and I don't know commercially or by design what the intended soft hackle is on this. I really like the hen just because it's a nice brown, matches that tail nicely, gives a really good movement. Partridge is great too if you're okay with more of a dun brown gray, lighter brown gray color. I've also seen people do this with dry fly hackle, similar to like on the Prince Nymph. If you want it to be a little more stiff, a little more picky, that's a good way to go there. So I'm gonna find a feather, and you're trying to gauge this based on how long that soft hackle is gonna be. You're gonna have fairly similar feathers as you go around. Once you identify one, if you're pulling from that same patch or portion of the patch, it should be fairly consistent. So you can tie up a half a dozen or whatever and have good consistency with it. We're gonna prep the feather by stripping most of the excess off, all the lower barbels. Strip those off so you're left with just a nice clean stem here. And then we will take that and grab it by the tip and then sort of massage everything rearward on it, just like you've seen us do on various soft hackles. Now we're going to take that and tie it in right by the tip there. Again, you want to avoid tying it in right where it splits, where you have bare stem. If you can grab some of that feather along with it, it's just going to be a little more durable. So we'll do a couple behind, couple in front, lay it down. This one I'm going to clip off because it's a little short. And we'll go over the top of it here. Nice, even thread base, as flat as we can get it. You gotta be very aware of how much room you're gonna have to finish, because it's not an oversized bead, so we don't have a ton of room right now. You could upsize this bead a little bit if you wanted to go to like a 3.2 or 3.5. And then we'll take this material, hold it up straight. We wanted those curls to kind of be going backwards. And then we're just gonna pull them that way as well, sort of fold them over on themselves a little bit. We're just teasing them now to sort of get them to want to lay that way. And then as we lay it down, we'll continue to do that with our wraps forward. So you can make this a real nice and thick soft tackle like I tend to do, or you can go real sparse. If you wanted to just do one turn right there and end it, you absolutely could. I tend to finish it off. I like how much movement all of this hen hackle gives this fly when it's down. It just sort of undulates in the water. Makes for a very realistic looking fly with the current pulsing it and all that good stuff. We'll come in and clip out our stem, and then just a couple of wraps to ensure that it's not going to move on us. Back over it. And we have one more material we're going to add in. So I'd say if anything, that's actually too thick of a soft tackle. It'll still probably fish great, but maybe a little more thin than that. So we're gonna come in and find a really nice piece of Peacock here. One that's got nice shimmer, good sized barbels on one side. So we'll take this guy. I like this guy. So you can see one side, they're quite a bit longer than the other side. So I want to utilize that and get that bit of material to flare outward. For me, what I do is I will tie it in facing down, because then when I come over and wrap it, it's going to reverse itself and be outward as I wrap. So we'll secure that near the bead, right back behind it. Some nice locking wraps there. And then I can take that, and as I go up and over, it's going to flare out real nicely for me. Do touching wraps as I go forward, 3 or 4 times there. Sure we have room to finish still. This is just to leave it, that extra piece of Peacock makes it a little more elegant to finish versus just thread wraps at the end. Not necessary, but I do like what it adds to the fly. And then we will come in and whip finish as normal. Give it a 3 or 4 turn whip finish. Snug it down real good. Maybe give it another couple quick turns here, so that we know that's not going anywhere. A little bit of a hot spot up front. Lock it in place. And you're good to go. We're ready to fish now. So that's the Bloody Mary. Nice soft hackle nymph, great little stonefly bug, excellent in the summertime. You can fish it under an indicator, you can fish it as a dropper nymph. It's got good weight to it under a big bushy dry fly, chubby Chernobyl such, on a tight line, in a Euro rig, or on the swing. Really a lot of options with the Bloody Mary, and just great classic materials throughout. So I hope you enjoyed this fly. Let us know if you tie one up for yourself. But yeah, give us a call, check out the materials on avidmax.com, and enjoy your time at the vise and out on the water. Thanks for watching.